Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Got one of those stories, pretty straightforward, but everyone sent it to me. Everyone. By everyone, I mean think of 14 or 15 people. Pamela, Troy, Bob, Stanley, Jason, David, Keith, Greg, Ben, Rick, Nicholas, Kevin, Chris, and Thomas. And in fact, just as I was about to walk over here, my phone dinged again. I looked. Another person sent it to me. So it's a popular topic, something I need to talk about. But it also involves the new Corvette. And of course, the new Corvette I've mentioned before is a car I actually like a lot. More than I'd expect, because I'm not a big Corvette guy. I'm not anti-Corvette. But, every person's got their tastes, and there's certain things you like, there's certain things you don't like. And there's no explanation for it, just the way things are. And so, I've always kind of liked some Corvettes. I think the 63 split window is cool. I like the fact they put side pipes and fuel injection on cars a long time ago. But the new Corvette, the C8, is a thing of beauty, and I really like it a lot. So when it's in the news, catches my attention, but it also caught everyone else's attention. Annie White wrote a story for carandriver.com, but it's widely reported that a lottery winner can't redeem his prize Corvette. The man won a Corvette, and somehow, although he won one, hasn't got it, and it appears he's having a hard time getting it. So this happens in Georgia with a $250,000 scratch-off lotto ticket. But local dealers are sold out of the car, and apparently the people who run the lottery weren't doing their homework on this one. Because if you're going to give a prize away, you should make sure you can get the prize. And I always thought, and call me crazy, I always thought that if you're going to give something like a Chevy Corvette away as a prize, that you would contact Chevy and say two things. One is, we're going to be giving a lot of attention to Corvettes in this prize that we're giving away. You guys cool with that? I would try to kind of tweak that into somehow, maybe some cross-promotion or something. But number two, will we be able to get one? Because if you'd approached this early enough and said, we're going to give it away as a prize in a $250,000 lottery contest, you'd think that Chevrolet would say, you know something, guys, we'll get you one. We'll set one aside for you. Wouldn't that make sense? Of course it makes sense. That's not how the government works. So Dennis Collar was crazy enough to think he'd actually win a free car when he bought a scratch-off ticket for Georgia's Corvette and Cash event. Of course, he probably didn't imagine that his luck would be tarnished by vehicle supply problems, organizing failures on the part of the lottery, and the eventual involvement of a team of lawyers, but still hasn't got his Corvette yet. And by the way, I understand that lotteries may or may not be run by different kinds of entities. I know that in some places the lotteries are actually like their own business, but they're running with the sanction of the state, and others are actually run by the state. But I don't know how this runs in Georgia, but Collar won the grand prize in the Corvette lottery sometime back in December. That win entitles him to $250,000 in cash and a 2021 Corvette. Now, the 2021 Corvette is worth up to $107,000. And the question is, do you get to pick your Corvette or do they pick one for you? I don't know how these things work either because it could vary from place to place. There's probably fine print somewhere. And that's the tricky part about buying lottery tickets. If you watch the ads for the lottery on TV, they got a bunch of fine print at the bottom that goes by so fast, even if you try to, pause it, you're not going to read it because it's not going to be clear enough for you. Trust me. If he had his choice, he says that he would spec out his Corvette, the 2LT Z51 in rapid blue, and spec'd out that way would get him about $80,465 worth of Corvette. That's what that car would cost, spec'd out like that. And so apparently, and I'm trying to calculate in this, there's some allowance, they say. You can get a Corvette plus whatever's left over, if there's any money left over from this car allowance, plus a $250,000, okay? So the base price of the Corvette is $73,000. So Collar may also be hoping to add features such as competition seats, carbon fiber trim, or color-matched seat belts to his C8. These are all things that you can pay extra money to get. So again, we don't know exactly how he'd order his dream Corvette, but that's not the point. The point is that he won a Corvette. They said, congratulations, you've won a Corvette. And he goes, where is it? And they go, we don't have one. When can you get it for me? We don't know. Will I ever get one? We think so. Georgia officials from the lottery, who apparently did not have a prize vehicle waiting in the wings for a winner, are struggling to get their hands on an appropriate car. Now, the launch of this Corvette was plagued with problems, among them simply being more people wanted it than could get them. But the manufacturing on the mid-engine Vette was delayed by a 40-day strike at the front end. Then, of course, COVID temporarily shut down some plants. And in October, the Bowling Green, Kentucky plant that builds Corvettes was shut down for a week because of unspecified coronavirus-related supply chain issues. So there wasn't COVID at the plant, but apparently COVID caused some hiccups in the supply chain somewhere upstream. And if that happens, it causes problems. A bunch of stories about that in the news lately also, where everyone's ready to build vehicles. And you go, yeah, but we have a shortage of this part or that part. Chips and things like that can be a problem. So that all adds up to a lot of demand and not so much supply. So far, the only vehicle the Georgia Lottery has been able to secure for caller came from a dealer who wanted $10,000 above MSRP, but caller said, I shouldn't have to pay that. Someone else should pay that, if anybody pays it. The point is, I was promised a Corvette. I want my Corvette. Now, it seems that he may have to wait until at least the third quarter of this year. Now, I could do math on this, but I'm guessing at sometime in the fall. He may have to wait until at least the third quarter of this year before an unaccounted for Corvette rolls off the line. Colliers' lawyers are now involved in his quest to extract a Corvette from the Georgia Lottery. And he says, Annie White says, if you ask us, it's bad form to look a gift horse in the mouth, and especially bad to have your lawyer do it for you. But then again, our Corvettes always show up on time. I'm assuming she's referring to press cars. So it is a strange one. But like I said, I've seen a lot of contests where it'll say, we're giving away this, an African elephant. Now, you can have the elephant or you can have the cash prize. And most people, when faced with that, go, I'd take the cash prize. Of course, take the cash prize. And so I was curious to know if deep in the fine print of this ad, it said, we'll give you a Corvette, or it's cash equivalent at our choice. And if they had done that, it would solve this problem instantly. I suspect they didn't do that because otherwise we wouldn't be here talking about this. So notes to Georgia lottery officials. I'm going to give you some free advice, but since I'm not licensed in Georgia, my free advice is worth exactly what you paid for it. In the future, if you're going to give away a Corvette, along with a cash prize, you put in the fine print, buying a ticket, you agree to this term, and that is that you will get the cash prize if you win, and you will get the car or its cash equivalent. And if the car is not available, you'll have to take the cash equivalent. And they should recognize that there are some things beyond their control. And so let's get crazy here. Okay, just hypotheticals. Law school loves these kind of things. Let's get crazy and say that suppose that as they're building these cars, Chevrolet realized that there's something so catastrophically wrong, they're just going to simply stop building them. We've decided we're no longer going to build any more Corvettes. Then what do they give the guy? They have to give the guy cash, right? I mean, that's cash solves most problems. But could the guy go, no, I still want a Corvette? You guys force General Motors to open that lineup and build one more Corvette. Obviously, they can't do that. So they've got to always build in that escape clause because you're leaving a portion of your obligation in someone else's hands. And you'd immediately go that obviously you've got to have some way to back out of that gracefully because something might happen out of your control. Now here, I don't know how far back before a contest starts they start planning. I don't know. And I've been involved in some things where corporate types were trying to plan something down the road. And I've been present on a conference call with about a dozen people who are throwing out dumb ideas. And sometimes they take on this mindset, like there's no idea too stupid, throw it on the table. And people are throwing out ideas that are so stupid that you want to go, excuse me, that would never work. Excuse me, why did you waste your breath on that one? But there is a value to brainstorming like that. But the problem is that some people in those meetings get in the mindset that, we don't criticize any idea because they're all good ideas. But when someone said, let's give away a Corvette, you'd think somebody would have done the research and said, My understanding is those things are going to be hot. My understanding is they're sold out way in advance. Should we track one down first and get a commitment? If we could, maybe contact Chevrolet. I mentioned it before. Contact Chevrolet and say, hey, we're going to give away one of your cars. Can you put us in line to get one early? And we'll put it on display someplace. Win this car. And look at how much PR you're going to get for that. Now, Chevrolet might go, we don't care. We're getting so much PR on this car, we don't care. But the fact that a state lottery is going to do this as a prize, because they could have said, something, guys, if you won't give us a Corvette, we could change the contest to win $250,000 in a Bronco. Maybe Ford will get us a Bronco. And by the way, we're not asking for the Corvette for free. We're willing to pay for the Corvette. We just want to be assured that our winner can get his hands on and his rear end into the seat of a Corvette when we say we can give him one. That's all we want to do. We're willing to pay for it. We'll pay for it. Point is, $250,000 and a Corvette. We got money in the bank. We just need a Corvette. So this is something you think they would have spotted further back and solved, but they didn't. So the guy right now has his cash, the 250K, does not have his Corvette, and it's making the Georgia lottery officials look kind of bad. So I'll be curious to see how long it takes him to find him a Corvette. You'd think that with this kind of publicity, they can probably do some kind of nationwide search and find one somewhere. But the question is, then will it be the one he wants? And again, I don't know what the rules said with how much control he has over that. Did the rules really say you get $250,000 in cash and you get the special order a Corvette? Because if it did, they might have bigger problems than we thought. So we'll see. But again, I wonder if lawyers looked at the rules on this. And if they did, if they thought about them. So who knows? CarAndDriver.com, and Annie White wrote that story. The lottery winner can't redeem his prize Corvette, sent to me by almost everybody on earth, including Pamela, Troy, Bob, Stanley, Jason, David, Keith, Greg, Ben, Rick, Nicholas, Kevin, Chris, and Thomas. Thanks a lot, guys. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. The hardest piece of software to change is between two ears. But for some people, it's more of a hardware problem.